Hello, welcome back to Heretic Owl Tarot. My name is Liz, and I will be guiding you on this journey today. This is a reading for Gemini, wherever Gemini falls for you. Also, be sure to check out your human design profile reading. I think the only one that I have left to do is the 3-5 profile. Otherwise, everybody else is up. Happy birthday to you Gemini babies. I attempted to do your reading yesterday, and it just was not working. It was also my birthday yesterday, and I was sitting here, I like literally had the whole spread out, and I could not formulate the words. I kept like stopping and restarting because I was like, I don't think that's the message. Like I just couldn't connect with it, right? So then I was actually I stopped the recording and I was just kind of sitting here just like, what the fuck, And I was just, looking at the oracle card that had come out and all of the tarot cards that had come out. And I was like, is this reading for me? And it was like, as soon as I had that thought, or I guess maybe even realization, it was like all of a sudden, the pieces fell in place, and I was like, oh, okay. Because I don't really give myself tarot readings anymore. I used to daily, like sometimes more than once. I would give myself tarot readings in the beginning, like when I was kind of first learning to read tarot. And then all of a sudden it was like, anytime I would pull a spread for myself, I'm like, I don't understand. Like, I have no idea what these cards are saying. So I just, I kind of stopped. And if I want a reading, I'll get a reading from somebody else. I actually literally just had a tarot/astrology reading through Meg of Expot Astrology. So highly recommend her too, because I love the mix of the two. And so anyway, I clearly just have a lot to say at the beginning of your reading that I want to share with you. What was the other thing? Also, so as I was sitting down here getting prepared for your reading, it just all of a sudden seemed like outside was so loud. Like, when you get overstimulated to the point of it just like, at least for me anyway, it kind of pisses you off, right? I had my sliding door open, and there is like a fairly busy street back there, but and I've had it open since like 6:30 this morning. So anyway, it was just like all of a sudden I'm like, why is that so loud? So I I closed the door. So I just wonder if you're experiencing just some level of like overstimulation in some capacity. I mean, there's been times where I just remember this one time I walked into Target, and again, I was probably overstimulated already before. So I somehow hit the button in the right spot to where it stopped recording. But anyway, and it's probably like, oh my God, shut up and just get to the reading. We will. So anyway, I walked into Target, and I was probably overstimulated already. And I probably walked like just past like the carts and just that first area, and was like, I can't do this. So I just, I left and I went back on a different day. So we have the Sacred Space card for you. which to me, I feel like that's kind of part of the reason why I was even bringing all that stuff up, because to me anyway, a sacred space is like as loud or as quiet as you want it to be, right? But like you have control over that environment, which, you know, I mean, you can decorate it however you want. You can, you know, again, like have whatever sound you want to have. Like if you want to have some background noise, or what is it, like white noise or brown noise? I thought, is there like a green noise too? We have the Ace of Cups, which is interesting because this is This is the card that at the beginning, when I was shuffling, it came out and I put it back in because I wasn't taking like tarot cards yet. So see, if it wants to come out, it will. And that's way too many cards. That's why I don't worry about like putting cards back in the deck or just flipping cards over, because I don't take the cards that flip in the deck. We have the King of Wands. We have the Nine of Swords. We have the High Priestess under the Ace of Cups. That's too many. We have the Nine of Cups under the King of Wands, and the Nine of Wands under the Nine of Swords. I was going to say that would have been crazy if the Nine of Cups would have been, or the Nine of Pentacles would have been at the bottom of the deck, as we have 3 nines out here. The Magician is at the bottom of the deck. The Six of Pentacles, Queen of Cups, Ace of Swords. The Lovers is back here too, which is your card, right? 4 of Wands, 6 of Wands, 9 of Pentacles is nowhere to be found. That's okay. Okay, so let's see what this Sacred Space card is talking about. It says, create a sacred space where you can explore yourself completely. Maybe it's a journal, a spot under a tree or duvet, a place in your imagination, or even this deck of cards. Wherever it may be, you deserve a space, a safe space to dream, a place for uninterrupted self-reflection and unrushed creative work, for time away from the loud world. A space quiet enough to hear the whispers within, until they become just as loud as the world outside. This is your inner wisdom, your intuition, the universe coming through you. Return to the space whenever you need. Sacred space is an absolute necessity. This is a place where you can simply experience and bring forth what you are and what you might be. I love that. And also, this is the Journey Oracle deck, so, you know, it did say maybe it's this deck. So if you have been looking for a new Oracle deck, there you go. Of course, too, I mean, even just like sitting out in nature, or because, you know, this looks like a window. So it could even be like visiting a restaurant or a coffee shop in a mountain town, if there's mountains around you, of course, or just like some place where, you know, when you look out the window, it's pretty, you know, it's relaxing. It's, you know, I'm in Colorado, so I do, you know, like I am at least fortunate enough to have views like that, and it's not very far to drive into the mountains, just like a day trip type of thing, you know? So anyway, because also if it's like you don't have space in your home, you know, it's like, or if you can't make your office or wherever you work a sacred space, it's like it's finding those times, you know, where you can get centered. I just like got stuck staring into this silhouette here, and even just how aligned these 3 stars are. So even just like getting balanced, getting aligned, getting focused, So let's start with your reading. We have the Ace of Cups to begin with. Aces are new. Cups are our feelings, our emotions, right? Like how we deal with our emotions, how we express our emotions, how we even identify our emotions. It's love, giving or receiving, or even just our relationship to it. This card specifically talks about these two elephants meeting here over this cup, and they create a baby elephant. So it could also even just be that beginning stage of creation, but also, right, it's creating something out of love, because mommy and daddy loved each other, and when two people love each other, like the whole birds and the bees things, or, conversation. So with that in mind, right, I mean, you could be creating something that you love. There could, of course, be something entering into your life that you're going to feel good about and that you're going to love. I mean, it could be a person, but it could also be an experience. It could be a job. It could be, even just how you feel about yourself. And it's interesting because it's paired with the High Priestess, who is Pisces. And I see the High Priestess as being our direct connection to our star player, right? Like, and that can be whoever it is or whatever it is that you believe in. For me, it's my higher self. It could be God, it could be source, divine, spirit. If you believe in such a thing, if you don't, then it is your direct connection to your intuition, because we all have that. But, how is that like channeled through you type of thing? That's kind of where your belief system comes into play. Also, the High Priestess speaks about things that are hidden, because she is a number 2. We do have the Magician at the bottom of the deck. So we have 1 and 2 here. But it's like discovering something about yourself, right? And it is something new about yourself. It could even just be an evolution of something. And it's recognized how much you have evolved around that thing. And it would have to do on an emotional level, how you handle your emotions. Again, how you express your emotions, even the things that you keep hidden from people. So it says the mind, subconscious, the inner self, intuition. The High Priestess sits on her throne, positioned between the cusp of day and night. She is the guardian of the subconscious mind and queen of intuition. The pillars beside her are scrolled with ancient glyphs, and in her hand she holds the book of the universe with the guidance of the moon at her feet. We do have a full moon coming up. I think it's on the 23rd, and I believe it's in Sagittarius. So, that's the sister sign to Gemini. So, wherever that sits for you, obviously if you're a Gemini rising, then it would be your 7th house. But if you're not a Gemini rising, wherever, Sagittarius falls for you, and wherever Gemini, hello, falls for you too, because it's kind of like you can see the key words or whatever of that house, and even just set intentions, like think of things regarding those two houses, like, Gemini 1st house with yourself, right? Because it's the house of identity. And what did it say? Inner self. I would say intuition too. The subconscious is more 12th house to me. So, yeah, I mean, if you are Gemini rising, there's a lot of shit happening in Taurus right now. Um, but again, I mean, and you can Google the meanings of the houses and just even see if there's anything coming up for you around those things. And even just journaling about them, because full moons, I believe, are more for like letting go. So it's like, again, even creating space for something new by releasing something old. Like it could be an old, thought pattern, emotional pattern, an old way of feeling about yourself, or an old way of thinking about yourself, something in your subconscious that is a limited belief even. Because like from there, we move on to the King of Wands, which is actually Sagittarius, right? Let me look. Yeah, I mean, on my little note, it says the King of Wands is Sagittarius. So I think that's kind of funny that, again, we have that full moon coming up on the 23rd. So again, like even just making space in your emotional body, right? Like just, allowing things to clear out, and just keeping an open heart and an open mind for new shit to come in. Because truly, I mean, your sacred space could be in you, right? I don't know if the book mentioned that. Again, it did mention journaling. So anyway, oof. All of a sudden I just want to like scratch my eye out. Like, where did that come from? So wands have to do with action. It's the motivation behind the actions that we take, creativity, passion. How are you communicating those things? What actions are you taking towards those things? I also see wands as information by way of experience, because that's what we get by trying things, right? We figure out what works, we figure out what doesn't work, what do we like, what don't we like. And I don't know, like for you being an air sign, right? And kind of having the mental like process. I know for me, there's been, and I've been giving this example because it just keeps coming up, so I just kind of keep saying it. But the amount of things that I thought I would love, and I bought all the shit for, and I tried it a few times and hated it, right? But I wouldn't have known that if I didn't try it. There's been plenty of things that I have tried and I have loved. There's been plenty of things that I thought I was going to hate, and then I tried and I did like, and I continue doing them. So again, though, right, like you really do have to try the thing. And even for it to evolve, we were talking about, evolution, even, in the way that you express your feelings or you express yourself and the way that you communicate, right? Like that could even change just based on you talking, it just becomes more like, I want to say streamlined, but and especially being Mercury ruled, right? Like, Mercury is all about communication. So the more that you do it, the more comfortable in most cases that you get in doing so. And even like your message becomes more clear, right? So again, like the King of Wands, kings are the highest expression of the suit also. So this is somebody who has tried a bunch of things. This is where you would get eventually by trying a bunch of different things. And that all becomes wisdom, because it's all information, right? It's information by way of experience. And it does become wisdom, because you can say, I actually tried it that way, and this is how it went for me. So I tried it this way, and this is how that went. And then I finally tried it this way, and that way worked. But, that's just my 2 cents on the whole thing, and so again, because people do look to kings for guidance, for leadership, right? So it's becoming an authority in a subject. Again, people looking to you. The King of Wands is the entrepreneur of the tarot also. And I believe that the King of Wands is that because they have to have creative freedom. You're not going to be able to tell the King of Wands how to spend their time, what pace to go, how to do something, like you just can't. They need to have that creative freedom, even to pivot when they want to move as fast or slow as they want to. And whoever's coming can come, and whoever doesn't, that cool, And it's interesting. I've seen this card a few times throughout these readings, and I never really, I've seen it, but I haven't really paid attention to this energy that's behind them. And to me, that feels like higher self. Because for me, when I was on this journey of finding God for a while, I won't get into it, but I kept meeting my higher self. And it really was just this energy. And it was almost like they conformed into the shape of like a human just to be relatable, but they could just take on like any form. So it's interesting because it's almost like you are being backed by your higher self. And it could be because you're like moving in the right direction, regardless of how fast or slow it feels. It could even just be that your mind is now kind of focused in a certain direction. And even with this High Priestess card, because they are holding this book, and that is usually, to me, like considered like, and I think it mentioned it in the book anyway, is it like the secrets of the universe or something like that? But it's more about like, if you believe in this sort of thing, your contract here, the book of the universe. Yeah. But I see this more as like your book, what you came here to do or to accomplish or to experience. Again, if you believe in that sort of thing. I know, like for me, I'm like, bro, if I agreed to this, then I have words. There's going to be words. Not that it's been all terrible or anything, but it's kind of like there's definitely been huge what the fuck moments, So anyway, this feels like higher self. Again, just being backed by or even supported by literally yourself. And again, it could be God, spirit source, whatever it is. I'm just going to use a term that I use. And also even just like the energy is just kind of like flowing out of you. And we have the Nine of Cups, which does kind of feel like sacred spacey. The Nine of Cups is wish fulfillment. Your desires being met, feeling fulfilled, feeling purposeful. This little, in the Eight of Cups, this little elephant was sitting outside of this cave. It's raining. They're like all sad. They're like slumped over and just sad. And in the Nine of Cups, they come out of that cave because the message there is the only way out is in, right? But then they come out of this cave and they find their little people. There's all these other elephants there. They felt alone. They felt abandoned, whatever, and then they find their people and this beautiful canyon, where there's this river that runs through it. No more lack of resources or no more lack of love, even because it is water, but it's kind of like, the people that get it. And maybe they are going to look to you for some sort of guidance. I kind of love, both of these cards have a lot of yellow in them. Yellow and blue. Yellow and blue. Yellow is the solar plexus, right? Creativity, creation. Blue, throat, right? Talking, expressing, emoting. That's kind of interesting. And then we have we have the Nine of Swords. Who is this? This is actually Gemini, which is kind of funny. At least according to my notes. I haven't quite put all of that together yet. It just honestly hasn't really been a focus, but at least on my notes, it does say, which makes sense actually, because Gemini is mutable. So it would make sense that 789 would be associated to Gemini. But swords have to do with our mindset, our thoughts, ideas, truth, honesty, but divine truth, objective truth, right? I also see swords as being the suit of ego, because that's generally where we hear our ego, is in our minds. And our ego is created by the stories that we attach to feelings, to experiences, whether they're our stories or not, and whether they're true or not. But, we receive information, by way of our environment. It goes through the filter of our ego, and then it kicks out a story about our reality. So, everybody's ego is different. Everybody's filter is different. And also it's subject to change based on you, right? And like your own healing, like, how aware are you of those stories? Do you know where they come from? Are they true for you? Like, even if you thought they were true at one time, are they? I feel like 9 times out of 10, for me, going through like my own stories, they weren't true. So then it becomes, what is actually true then, right? Like if I have the capacity, the responsibility to determine if that's true or not, what is true for me and what feels good, what doesn't, even mentally, like what story do I want to give energy to? And I'm saying all of this because the Nine of Swords, as we can see, right, it does talk about fear and anxiety, self sabotage even. I was gonna actually say self-loathing, but okay, throw that out there. Those limiting beliefs that I think I might have mentioned with the High Priest somewhere. I think I did. However, though, 9s are individual completion. So whatever this is that's happening in these first 4 cards, right? It could even just be because, this is a moon person. Moons are associated to emotions, Cancer, Pisces, even the High Priestess, right? It mentioned that, I already forgot I opened right to the page. She holds a book of the universe with the guidance of the moon at her feet. Right down here. So, this could be just like emotionally kind of all over the place. Maybe it's just having a hard time. I don't want to say like compartmentalizing, but like looking at each individual thing as an individual thing. You could have all of these thoughts and ideas coming at you at one time, and it could be overstimulating. Speaking of, bringing it back to what I was talking about in the beginning, there's this whole like thing going on between the moon and the sun throughout the Swords suit, but it says, consumed by his own self-imprisonment, the sun lets in chaotic thoughts. Anxieties and fears flood his being. He begins to question his purpose, his existence, his worth. He is alone, and the burden of carrying the sky all day and night is far too much to bear. Anxiety, depression, chaotic thoughts, disruption. And, and again, right, because you are an air sign, it's like, whereas like a water sign might just feel the wave of all those emotions at one time, and that could be overstimulating for them. An earth sign could feel literally the weight of the world crushing them. And, like fire signs could just feel like the pressure or the heat of that, like the pressure of wanting to take action towards something, but not knowing what to do. Anyway, I don't even know why I went through all of those, but okay. So again, and this could even be, I don't even know how the fuck the first four cards that we talked about is even going to be possible. Like you could be like, that sounds all well and good, but like, how do I get there? You work for it. We have the 9 of Wands. Like I said, we have 3 9s on the table. Maybe you're even seeing 9s. Maybe you're going to be seeing 999 specifically. I don't know why I just heard in my head, even numbers that equal 9. Like, I don't know about you, but I do this thing where I add numbers just to see what they, simplify down to. And, so it could even be seeing numbers that simplify down to a 9. But again, right, wands, everything that we talked about with wands, it's a 9. So it's individual completion. This is like literally forged in fire. I don't, did you ever watch that show? It was like on, was it the History Channel? I loved that show, where they were forging knives and swords and stuff. The show was literally called Forged in Fire. But, there's this fire pit. I don't know what the name of it is. I don't know if there is a name. But, there's this oven that is like as hot as the sun. It's at least, it's got to be hot enough to heat up steel. And then, so they get it super hot, and then they bring it over to their anvil. Is that what that's called? Like a anchor? No, anvil? Anvil? Oh my gosh. Words. Yeah, anvil. Anvil. You know what I'm saying? like this thing. Right, and then they start pounding it into shape. So it's like you could be just being forged in literal fire, right? Depending on, and it's also interesting too, because we have that Sagittarius full moon. This is so fucking cool how all of this is just like wrapping itself up in a perfect little bow. We have that full moon in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is a fire sign, right? We even have confirmation or affirmation, whatever, of the, I don't want to say it like importance of that, but it's like, again, like setting intentions. What are you going to release so that these things can come in? Are you even just going to release like being overwhelmed mentally? And instead of thinking, I don't know how that's going to be possible, just even allow yourself to think that it will be possible some fucking how. And it's none of your business how it becomes possible, as long as it does, right? So again, this card too, like to me, it speaks to working, like perfecting a skill, but you do that by repetition, whatever that is. It could even be rejection. Like, I don't know why this is kind of coming through, but have you, like, there was a story of this person. I feel like every once in a while there's somebody else that's doing it and documenting their journey, but they make it a point to be rejected in something different every day. But it forces them to come out of their comfort zone and to try new things, and also to get comfortable with rejection. That's just an example. But, like, in order for this person to be able to make this many wands and have them all be exactly the same, that took a lot of practice. It took a lot of trial and error. It took time and resources. Like, they had to continue to show up and they had to continue trying. Even just the white-haired thing, I don't think it doesn't have the feeling of this is only going to happen when you're old. But it could also be a message that regardless of what age you are, don't allow age to determine, like failure or success type of thing. I think it just is like reiterating like this wisdom thing, because, wisdom comes with age. But I don't think that it's like, don't worry about it happening anytime soon, because, it's not going to happen for another 40 years. No, it doesn't feel like that. And then we have the Magician at the bottom of the deck. And I love this actually as being the quote unquote like last message, because the Magician, anytime the Magician shows up, it says you have exactly what you need right now to manifest the thing that you desire. Even, we have those mountains back here. We were talking about mountains. Mountains in tarot are about like the journey, the ebbs and flows, the ups and downs. Also, too, that it's not just like one flat, progression forward. Like, there's going to be times where, there's going to be a crazy incline that you're going to have to get up, or even a crazy decline, like having to go downhill, like a steep downgrade, so there's that. But they have every element here. So, and I think too, sometimes we get stuck in I don't have enough money. I don't have enough energy. I don't have, the emotional capacity. I don't have the mental capacity. I don't have enough information. I don't blah, blah, blah. And maybe that's true on a certain level, but it's also like, are those things what you're telling yourself so that you don't actually have to try, so that you don't actually have to feel rejected in some capacity? It's like only wanting to feel the good feelings, but not wanting to experience the bad. So you're like, I'm not even going to try because I don't want to feel bad. That's also, it's attaching an emotion to an outcome. And that, So I always think of the Sword of Gryffindor with the Magician card, because the Sword of Gryffindor in Harry Potter, right? It shows up to exactly who needs it at the exact time that they need it for the exact purpose that they need it for, right? And then as soon as it served its purpose, it's gone. It goes on, it goes somewhere. That's the Magician card. You have exactly what you need right now to do the thing. Whatever you need, if it's a resource, if it's an idea, if it's, a mentor, a person, a support, whatever it is, it will show up for you at exactly the time that you need it for exactly the purpose that you need it for. And I also know that because we have the Six of Pentacles behind it. Pentacles have to do with our money, how we get it, how we save it, how we spend it. Could be a job. It's our time. Where are we spending our time? Where are we physically showing up in our lives? Also our physical health. It's anything that we place value and worth on. So our energy too, our time, our possessions, the resources available to us. And the Six of Pentacles is about like reciprocity. It's kind of like what you put out, you get back. So, it could be people from your past that you helped at some point, and maybe at some point they will step in and help you. It's coming across the right resource when you need it. It could, of course, be charity or like a grant, because there's no strings attached with the Six of Pentacles. So I never use like the terms loan or because I feel like there's strings attached to a loan. You have to pay it back, right? No. That's not that's not the Six of Pentacles for me. I mean, it certainly can be that if you have been trying or if you've been thinking about getting a loan in some capacity, it definitely could be. But it could just be like finding a resource where, again, you know, a grant, like you receive some level of charity. It could be a program that you come across that you qualify for. It could, of course, even be a person, because the Six of Pentacles does talk about recognizing, either you or the other person recognizing that you have the knowledge, you have the resources available so that you can share those things with other people. It could be sharing your knowledge. Even, you know, with the King of Wands, right? It's like sharing the things that you have picked up along the way. But there would be some level of equal energy exchange for that, though, right? So keep that in mind. I'm going to leave it there. I think that is a beautiful effing reading. Thank you so much for allowing me to read your cards. I will talk to you soon. Bye.